The following show and its content are the responsibility of the show's producers and participants.
Information related in this program is not meant to substitute medical recommendations. Before starting a treatment program, you should consult your physician.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
That's all right. Welcome to the Couch Live here on WPSN99.com. Hello, everybody. Man, Trinity. I am the street certified dope Dr. Louis Delgado here with you, along with the Dharma Guy Trinity Phillips. What?
Are you recording?
Yes.
That's all that matters.
But it took a little bit. How'd this move, Trinity?
I don't know.
There it is. There you are.
All right.
You weren't in the shot.
I don't know.
I don't know how that moved. Anyway.
We're having all sorts of fun technical
issues. Oh, man.
Today.
Let me tell you something. If you only knew all the technical difficulties we've experienced in the last month or so, I
don't know if I like the lights at the bottom here.
What, the way it looks or the way it shines in your face?
My face.
Yeah. But the look is better.
Okay.
Because let me see. I can't really tell.
Yeah.
No, I can see it because it had a shadow before. Because of the top light. Anyway, we probably won't go around twice with it then. Once is enough.
It's kind of bright.
I think once is enough. Yeah, it's bright enough, and I don't like lights already, but once is enough. Yeah, but anyway, welcome to the Couch Live, everybody. I mean, we haven't done the show in
it's been a while.
It's been a minute, and then we were having some technical difficulties on some other shows, and we did a whole show last week that didn't even.
No, but it went out on Facebook.
It did go out on. It did go out on over there, Facebook Live over there.
So,
no, wait a minute. I gotta share that, right? You gotta make sure people can watch and listen to us, Trinity.
Yes, sir.
And what'd you say? You couldn't tag yourself? The Dharma Guy couldn't tag himself in the Couch Live radio show for Facebook Live.
I think I could do it from my computer, though. Let me see.
Well, try that. Anyway, lots has happened since our last Couch Live. This is a show that focuses on addiction and recovery and all things in between.
Yes, sir.
Glad you guys are here joining us. It's a beautiful, man, I know it looks like it's cold weather where I'm at. I'm all dressed in my winter clothes, Trinity.
Yes. So I was able to finally tag myself via computer.
Oh, okay, there you go.
All is right in the world.
All is right in the world. All right, so it looks like I'm in a freezing environment. Yes. But I'm not. I'm just not.
Yes.
We're actually
with your beanie on in a jacket. It's like 80 degrees outside too, I think, isn't it? I know it's much warmer than you're making it appear.
That's true.
Maybe not as hot as I'm making it appear.
That's true.
I think we're at opposite ends of the spectrum.
Well, here's the thing. The thing is that I was just after our golf tournament the other day. We had the Now Matters More Foundation golf tournament. Huge success.
It was
fantastic. We'll talk a little bit more of that in a second. But then I the next day I had to leave to where was it?
Antarctica.
Connecticut. So I flew into New York and then drove up to Connecticut. Went up to New Haven, Connecticut to visit a program called Turnbridge, which is I got this hat. See his hat?
Right on. The big T with a shield.
Big T Turnbridge, and I've never been in Connecticut. Never been there.
Connect that cut.
Let me tell you something. To spell that word probably took me all of high school to finally figure it out. Connecticut.
Connect that cut.
Loved it. Truly, I was right there at Yale, bro. I stayed at the Omni right by Yale.
Right.
I walked around a little bit. The Yale campus is right there, and went into Turnbridge. It was kind of a quick visit, man. Boom, 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 man. Met with clinical team. Met with the people who prescribe medications, evaluate the psychiatric evaluations and stuff. Met with all kinds of team members learned about the program, went to one of the men's houses, went to one of the women's houses. Man, what a phenomenal program. So I'm wearing their beanie today because I was really impressed with what you guys got going on. Can't wait for us to send somebody up to that program to get an insider view of how good the program is, because that's kind of how we do it. We'll give you an opportunity now that we've visited your program, now that we've evaluated your program a little bit. We will hopefully have somebody go be in your program. It's a 9-month program, though, Trinity.
Wow.
So do I got to wait 9 months? Do we have to wait 9 months before we figure out whether we like them or not?
I think
Or
so.
I guess we'd know pretty quick
Yeah,
if they
I
suck,
mean,
right? Like if they suck, we're going to know within the first 2 months.
Yeah, I think we'll know very quickly, if they're doing what they say they're doing.
Right.
9 months would obviously enable us to talk about their entire program as a whole, someone going through the beginning to ending.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, I would agree. I would think very, very quickly we'll know if they're full of it or not.
Right. But I'm
But
guessing
isn't John Shooter up there?
John
with them?
Shooter
So
is now part of that program.
I'm going to assume, based upon that fact
Yeah.
alone, that they're
Right.
they're not as
Right.
Well,
that's why I went. I went because we had a relationship with John Shooter before,
yeah.
with another program, and now he's with them. So just like we did with our sponsors, if you're watching this show and you know this show, you know that some of our sponsors are Journey Pure, which is they have like 7 different treatment centers all over the place.
Yes.
The flagship program, of course, being in
The River.
Murfreesboro, Tennessee, the River, and then we have Retreat Behavioral Health with their flagship program being up there in Pennsylvania. Didn't get a chance to go there, man. I was so close to Pennsylvania, though.
Yeah, man. They have that really cool
I really want to go
round
see
building
them.
too.
Yeah. It's in Pennsylvania now. We have visited the one here in Florida. And I think we visited just about all of them. I think I visited all the Journey Pure programs.
You been to the Panama one yet?
Mm-hmm.
Because that was the one they were trying to get us.
That's the first one I visited. Yeah,
Really?
I think I've been to all the Journey Pure programs.
Right on.
Have not been to all the retreat programs. But again, it was good to go up to Turnbridge and go visit programs. If you're from a program and you're watching this, and you want either the Now Matters More Foundation to add you to the list of yes, that's an acceptable program for you and your family to go to, should you meet criteria for that program, or should they meet the criteria of what you're looking for,
Right.
then one of us has to go. Trinity or myself has to go and visit it and evaluate it. That's just the way it is. And then, of course, since we're both on this show, it kind of works. It's a twofer.
That's right.
It's a twofer. You get referrals from the Couch Live, and you get referrals from, it's threefer, really, from WPSN99.com, because you get referrals from Dharma Time.
Yes, sir.
So Dharma Time, the Couch Live, and, of course, the Now Matters More Foundation. So anyway, golf tournament, Trinity, why don't you update us a little bit before we get into the show? What did we experience? Because, there was some new people there, new friends.
Yeah,
Made some new friends, man.
I gotta say, I was pleasantly surprised. It was our 6th one, which was awesome to be able to say we've done it for 6 years.
6 years, man.
In some instances, it doesn't feel that long.
Really?
In other ways, it feels like it's been like 100 years.
When you look at the old pictures is when I kind of really feel like, oh my God.
No, but it was really cool. We were at a new place this year. We were at Reunion on the Arnold Palmer course, and it was really cool. I was unsure how everything was going to work because we were at a new facility. Whoa, look at that.
Well, because you're not speaking into your microphone or something's different.
Talking like normal.
Yeah, it's really weird.
But anyways, so no, we were at a new place, and I gotta say that Reunion was very, very nice, man. I was unsure how the new facility or the new place was going to be. I think everybody was kind of unsure. But what I liked most about it was that we were able to still maintain our kind of chill family type vibe while having just a remarkable event, I think. Because oftentimes when you get bigger and you have these really cool events, you lose that personal touch.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about. I was worried about losing the vibe that we had already created.
But it feels that we were able to maintain it, man. And it was really cool. And shout out to Reunion, man. They are on the ball.
They did awesome.
They are on top of stuff. Had some really good volunteers came out that supported us. Everybody from the foundation did a great job. We had all of our sponsors were awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Like we couldn't have done it without them, obviously. Right. It was just a good time. It was a good turnout. Like it was very, very.
It was really cool to be in the place.
Dare I say one of our better ones, if not the best.
I think it was the best, man. Let me tell you something. That course was phenomenal to play. It was. I I can't even take the only negative was the navigation of the course, right?
Oh my
but
God.
but we got that with Alaqua too. Alaqua was a little bit difficult to navigate at certain spots, and you'd get lost. But you ended up on the wrong course a couple times.
Well, the thing was, there's 3 courses apparently.
Yeah.
But there's no definitive marker that tells you you're going from one course to the next.
Because they just went through an ownership change and took out some signs.
Yeah, some signage is missing. And so I distinctly remember one particular hole out there. I think it was like about 12 or 13, somewhere in that general area.
That's funny.
You come over the corner, or you come over this little hill, and there's 3 ways you can go, not a single sign. And you're like, okay.
Yeah.
You got 3 options here, you know. And so
I yelled at the wrong people one time. I thought I was messing with some of our players.
We took pictures of the wrong people. For real. Like, we rolled up to these people.
And they posed.
And, well,
they posed.
Yeah. Well, I was like, shoot, we're going to take pictures of you regardless.
Yeah,
like,
so they're going to end up in our reel?
That's right, man. And we rolled up on them. They're like, hi, guys. Are we going to be on TV or something?
I hope I remember that before I spend hours and hours trying to figure out who they are and asking everybody who they are so we can tag them or something.
But it was 2 couples from Canada. They were here on vacation for 4 months, which is awesome, apparently. And they were just having a good time golfing.
Right.
And I rolled up, and after I started talking to them, like, as I rolled up on them, I realized, like, okay, I don't recognize any of these people.
Right.
And I don't know every single person on every single team, but I know at least 1 or 2 people on every single team.
Yeah.
And I didn't recognize any of them. And so I started, as we're rolling up, creeping up on them, I'm thinking, I'm telling Danielle, who was with me taking the pictures, I was like, I think either we're on the wrong course or they're on the wrong course. I don't know which is which. And then after I left, I realized I was on the wrong course.
It was you.
But yeah, the navigation, and I don't know if your guys' little GPS thing worked. Ours said we were always on 11. Like, no matter what hole we went to, 11. I was like, I don't think.
Oh, no, mine worked.
I don't think we're on 11 anymore.
Yeah, you were just in a defective vehicle.
Yeah.
That's all. We were in a good one. But I mean, Paul Barrett did a great job as far as setting it all up. And, of course, George, which I call him Faraday all day because he sounded just like David Faraday.
Yeah.
But George did fantastic
Yes.
as far as, like, the course management at the time. And,
Yeah.
man, like you said, man,
They
all
did
the
great.
volunteers, the players, everybody, our celebrities were spot on. They came out. Most of them came out the night before, Sunday night at Top Golf.
Yeah.
Including David and Jackie Siegel. That one of our major sponsors is Westgate Resorts, and so they don't really want anything for their sponsorship, but they did come out to Top Golf and mingled with everybody. And you know, it's not every day that a billionaire comes out and mingles with people that you know, or that you meet one. Put it that way.
Yeah, as I say, 'cause I'm sure he leaves the house.
But they're regular people. And hopefully you know, if you were one of our major sponsors or VIP guests, you were able to meet them and mingle, and it's pretty cool because you get to see the regular people. We've learned so much more about them throughout this year, including how much they've helped certain employees of theirs that have gone through troubles.
Amazing.
And that's kind of what this is all about, right? That's what the Now Matters More Foundation is about. That's what Trinity and I are about, is helping people who are going through tough times, how to help them navigate the situation and get to some help. So if you're watching this program, that's what the Couch Live is about. It's what Dharma Time is about, which is another program that Trinity does. And, you know, it's all about helping you guys that are suffering at the moment, struggling at the moment. Even if you're just not really struggling or suffering, you just need to kind of get a good vibe or a good message that day. Because oddly enough, there's a lot of people that listen that way. I'll get text messages every once in a while that says, I just needed a positive message today.
Really?
You know, so I'm going to tune in. Are you guys doing the show today? Or something like that. And that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And plus, we're going to have some big news coming up within the month. Some really big news about the Couch Live coming up, and hopefully you tune in for that news, and hopefully it's as big and exciting for you as it is for us when that finally comes out. But let's get into it then, right?
What are we getting into today?
I don't know. I went up to Turnbridge and I had some ideas.
Right.
So let's talk about it. First of all, it's a program, Trinity, for younger people. And when I mean younger, I'm talking about like 18 to 25.
Okay.
I was not expecting that. I was not expecting it was that big of a program. They have like I think what they say 100
over 100 beds.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
like they have over 180 clients.
Wow.
It's some crazy number like that. It's an IOP program. I thought it was residential.
Oh, okay.
It's an IOP program.
But even still, an IOP, that's a lot of people.
It's a long term.
9 months, you said, right?
9-month program.
Wow.
They have like 7 different houses. You know, that they do, and each house has, you know, so many people. But I mean, I can't possibly remember all this stuff. What we should have done is call John Tudor and say, hey, what was that about again? But it's a huge program, but it's for the 18 to 25-year-old that is struggling. And, I mean, a 9-month program is pretty good. So after they go through another program like Journey Pure, after they go through another program like Retreat Behavioral Health, then they can transition into this program, TurnBridge. And it just keeps them engaged longer in treatment. And as we know, all the research is showing that the longer you're engaged in some sort of treatment, the better off you are. Just because you're feeling better initially, Trinity, doesn't mean you're ready.
Yeah.
You know, you're just feeling better. I mean, because what are you comparing it to? So that's kind of what I want to talk about. What are you really comparing it to? If you did, first of all, what is it? Why did they even invent 28, 30-day treatments? Because that's
where I've always wanted to know, where did 30 days
It's really
come
for
from?
the working guy, right? It's for that guy who can take off for about a month max from work,
is that
right?
where it originated?
Come on. It originates when, and I say guy because back then, you know, like what women admitted being
Well, I
an
will
addict
say-
or could admit being an addict anyway.
What I do like, though, is the most recent facilities that we've interacted with.
Right.
I'm noticing a trend where a lot of them are trending past 30 days.
Right.
Which is cool. Like, it
the way
seems
it should be.
like more of them are starting to
That's
say,
the way it
look,
should
man,
be.
we're no longer doing 30 days. I mean, isn't that something that the industry could do, though? Couldn't the industry band together and tell the insurance company, no, we're
No.
not, we're
You would
30
think-
days is
no.
discontinuing. We're not doing that anymore.
You would think because insurance runs our business so much, and I don't like it. I don't like that insurance companies run our business, which is why when I bought my private practice in the first place back in '98, I fired every insurance company that we were in network with, and I said, bye-bye insurance.
Right.
I'm self-pay from now on because I just couldn't be handcuffed by. I always had to prove to them that the person was still sick. Instead of being able to be happy of their successes and being proud of their successes, I had to tell them how bad everybody was still feeling in order to still get insurance coverage. So it's totally opposite because you're talking to your client and you're focusing on their positive accomplishments, and then you talk to the insurance company, and the focus has to be on all the negatives that still exist.
Yeah.
So it just. I didn't like it.
You can't be like, hey, we're having success. It's working. We need to keep doing it. No, it's...
Yeah, you just couldn't even mention it.
You know, they're doing horrible. They need to be here.
Now, both things were true, but, you know, one is a head mindset where you're focused on this, and then you're given what we still need to work on, where this one is, you know, you're focused on the negatives, but you can't even talk about the positives, because if you even mention the positives, then, you know, oh, well, then they're ready to go. Yeah. And I was outpatient. So you can only imagine with inpatient, because that fight was a whole different... Wow. The residential fight was totally different.
But where did they get the 30 days from? Where did that come from?
You know, I used to know the answer to that, and I don't remember. There's an actual model that I'm not remembering the name of the model, so I'm not going to... You know, somebody watching this right now from the treatment industry and that knows history of this, right now is thinking, wow, blah, blah, blah model. And I forget what it's called, so I'm not even going to try to pretend.
I just don't understand the idea that you can change your mindset, perspective, and everything else in 30 days.
Again,
that's crazy.
It's outdated information. It's information based on, back then it was all men going to rehab, right? And men couldn't get away for longer than 30 days from their work or their home environment or whatever it was, and then they'd return to work. Here's the deal. None of the research says 30 days work. All the research says longer term, right?
Yes.
Now, that doesn't mean you don't start with detox and residential. That means that you continue care. Now, everybody knows this in the treatment industry, but typically, like I wasn't more of an outpatient provider, I stayed in my lane in the outpatient world. So someone else did the detox, someone else did the residential, someone else did the IOP, and then by the time you came to me, you're a lot more stabilized and you're able to live in your home, and we take you forward. The problem is that when you have those different levels of care that don't refer to the others, and they don't build a relationship with the others,
right.
And everybody says, no, my model is what works, right?
Sure.
So you can't do that. If you're out there and you're running a treatment center, you can't do that. It's better to play with others, refer to others, let detoxes do what detoxes do. And then detoxes, sometimes clients go to you and they don't want to go anywhere else.
The Minnesota model?
That's it. You looked it up?
Yes.
That's it, Minnesota model.
I'm a Google master.
Minnesota model. I knew it was something model.
Because apparently it started in Minnesota.
Yeah, and I couldn't remember Hazelden, right?
I didn't get that far
yet.
Yeah.
So that Minnesota model that we've all done for so long, it's just not even insurance companies pay 30 days anymore, or 28 days.
Right.
Look, the deal is, why is let's start from the top though, Trinity. Why is detox necessary? Why do you think detox is necessary, Trinity? What do you start learning in detox?
Well, first of all, you have to get the stuff out of your system before you can learn anything. Like, you have to be You have to get the impurities of alcohol or drugs or whatever it is out of your system to where you can actually even take in and retain any new information.
Right.
Otherwise, have you ever talked to anybody when they're drunk or whatever?
Yeah,
Just
like where are you going to go with that info?
Yeah, like please.
Well, a person
you don't remember anything when you're intoxicated,
right? And look. All right, so we know that detox is absolutely necessary for alcohol withdrawal because you could die.
Yes.
We know that detox is absolutely necessary for benzodiazepine withdrawal because you can die. But because you can't die off opiate withdrawals, and that's not as medical necessity, and some states don't even allow you. They won't even pay for detox if it's opiate withdrawals, which is what opened up this whole ball game of medication-assisted treatment, but not the medication-assisted treatment that includes Vivitrol. The medication-assisted treatment that is really should be called opioid replacement therapy, which is just methadone and buprenorphine, which is like Suboxone and stuff.
Right.
So you have detox, but since you can do ambulatory detox, which is outpatient detox, and then just keep them on a replacement, some people don't even send people to detox. But here's the deal.
I do have the answer now, finally.
For which question?
Where it came from, the 28 days.
What was it?
Like why it started.
Okay.
Which I think is weird to me.
Well, let me finish this point first, and then we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
So, with detox, though, what else are we detoxing from? Listen, if I'm currently using, my brain is so scrambled. I'm so used to a daily chase. I'm living life a little bit differently. That stress level is high inside. I can't deal with anything without getting some sort of fix. Then I kind of need to go somewhere just to sit, sleep, eat, rejuvenate, drink some liquids, maybe get some nutrients inside me, to let kind of like the snow globe kind of just settle.
Sure.
Settle. And then I can start maybe learning something, because while there's all that noise in my head and that obsession is currently in play, I can't hear what you have to tell me.
Yeah.
I don't care if you said the God's gospel truth.
Sure.
I can't hear you right now.
Of course.
There's so much noise in my head, and it's so scattered. So detox is not just for medical necessity from a standpoint of alcohol and benzodiazepines, but if you can afford it or your state allows it, you should go to detox every time, just to kind of just rehydrate nutrients and just kind of slow down a little bit and just kind of get your bearings. It's like when you stand still real quick when you're feeling a little nauseous. You're just trying to recalibrate.
Right.
Then you move on to the next level, which is what? Residential.
Yeah.
Right? Now, residential. Why do you think residential is important? What should you be gaining out of the residential when you first get in there, Trinity? What do you think?
I mean, from my perspective, residential is important because, you need somewhere to go that takes you away from any distractions or any potential, causes of problems. You know, like, we as human beings always find excuses for our, poor behavior choices or decisions.
Yeah.
And addicts are no different. They're going to find justifications for their use, even though it is the disease, but their disease is going to tell them you need to do it because this, and this.
Sure.
So I think removing yourself from a situation filled with potential pitfalls and being in a much safer, much more controlled environment to where you can kind of just focus on you. And you're surrounded by everybody around you that want nothing but help you. Right. Like, it's really kind of the best place to be in life, in period, especially if you're in addiction and you're trying to come out of that addiction.
Yeah.
I would say treatment's the best place for you because, once again, I tell people in groups when I was doing them all the time was, nowhere in your life are you ever going to find another situation where you're in an environment where everybody there is there to help you and wants the best for you. Yeah. Like, even when you go to your home, you're going to have maybe one of your friends or families kind of like, being pissy with you that day. You go to work, you're going to have that one person that just wants bad on everybody. Yeah. In a treatment facility, typically speaking, like, they're all there to help you. They're all there to see you do well. They all want the best for you. They're all there looking for. Now, you might not agree with all their perspectives.
Yeah.
But their purpose in being there is to see you do well. And so I think, for me, That's what it is, and that's where you can start relearning, coping skills, relearning how to comprehend everything that's happening in your life, what's happening to you, understand the disease, because you might still believe yourself even that you're just a horrible person, you're making bad decisions. And they can help you understand, like, nah, man, your brain's been hijacked. This is what it's been doing. This is how we kind of combat that.
Yeah, I agree with all that. Some people, you're not. Some of you are not in a safe environment. As much as you think it may be safe. Some of you know it's unsafe. I mean, some of you know that you're in a using environment, or you're in a place where you're not going to be able to heal. I mean, you might be able to get a couple days in, maybe even a couple of weeks, but it's just too polluted. There's a lot of, like you said, a lot of distractions. Maybe some people there that are using too many chemicals and substances around you. It just makes it more difficult. Too many triggers around you. But some of you are just truly in an unsafe environment, and it helps you to get away and kind of just focus on you. Where you're not so worried about, you're not so much thinking about everybody else's feelings and how they're responding to you that day. As far as your bills are concerned, your life is concerned, your work is concerned, your relationships are concerned. So, and then when you are dealing with stressors like work, life, bills, relationships, you have a professional there with you every day that can help you navigate how you're responding to those stressors.
Yes.
So it's like a daily reminder of like-minded individuals, like you said, other people that are going through it, and professionals that are helping you kind of deal with the stressors throughout a month-long period while your brain is still resettling. Yeah. Now remember, detox is not treatment, so this is the first stage of treatment. Yeah. Where you're actually outside of your home environment, getting a good evaluation of what's going on. A lot of people go into rehab or go into treatment, that initial treatment, and they've been diagnosed with all kinds of things.
Yeah.
All kinds of other mental health issues or all kinds of other things, because the physicians and the doctors, when they evaluated them, always evaluated them while they were using, or while they were coming off.
You're going to appear much different when you're when you're not using.
Yeah. Who doesn't look like bipolar or borderline personality disorder or ADD or ADHD or manic, if you want to use that word instead of bipolar, or even schizophrenic when you're using.
Oh, yeah.
So I'd rather get diagnosed. Wouldn't you rather get diagnosed after things settle for a while?
Of course.
After you've been
diagnose me, not my substance.
Trinity.
You know what I mean?
That was very well stated, Trinity. Diagnose me, not my substance. Because that's exactly what happens, right?
Yeah.
They diagnose all the symptoms of what the substance is doing to you, right?
Yeah.
Correct. What happened to that? What happened there?
I don't know.
Just closed. But not this. No, we're still up.
Okay.
The mix closed. The mix. I can't see the mix. But you're right. And so what we end up doing is we end up diagnosing the substance and all the things that the substance does rather than the person itself. That was a very well stated, Trinity. So anyway, that first 30 days, that allows you to just kind of like catch your breath a little bit more after detox and kind of start the treatment process. Remove you from an environment so that you can really assess your environment.
Well, I think that's when it starts. Like, to me, it still boggles my mind that it's 30 days or 28 days. Like,
well,
I mean, now that I read why it got started, it's even crazier to me.
Right.
Go
ahead. Well, now is a perfect time to tell us why. Actually.
Oh, yeah. All right. So there was an interview with, what was her name? From SAMHSA, I believe it is. Kimberly Johnson. There was an interview with her, and they were talking about, and she was trying to explain where some of these things came from.
Okay.
And she says that it certainly is not scientifically based.
No.
I live in Minnesota, where the model was developed, and a lot of treatment across the country really stemmed from that.
Yes.
She says that the late Daniel Anderson was one of the primary architects of the Minnesota model, which became the prevailing treatment protocol for addiction specialists. At a state hospital in Minnesota in the 1950s, Anderson saw alcoholics living in locked wards, leaving only to be put to work on a farm. Mm-hmm. To find a path for them to get sober and leave the hospital, he came up with the 28-day model. Marvin Ventrell, executive director of the National Association of Addiction Treatment Providers, has studied the model's history. He says the month-long standard comes from the notion that when someone is suffering from addiction And in the days that this began, we're pretty much talking about alcoholism.
Right.
It made sense to people that it took about 4 weeks to stabilize somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ventral says it became the norm because the
Right.
insurance industry was willing to pay for that period
Correct.
of time.
Correct.
That was basically how it goes. I mean, there's more in the article, but that's
Yeah.
the gist of it.
Yeah.
So essentially, it was like, oh, yeah, I guess it takes about 4 weeks.
Right. So the bigger programs did it, like the Betty Fords and the Hazeltons that were the biggest monsters of the time.
But to me, it was...
And that's why we all did it.
I don't even like the whole idea of just stabilizing somebody. Because
Well,
to me, there's a difference
so-
between stabilization
So
and...
that's the
like,
next layer.
you're
So let's
good.
talk about the next layer. So the next layer then, Trinity, after that crisis stabilization, and then after the initial inpatient stabilization, would
Right.
be like a partial hospitalization, which a
Right.
lot of treatment centers now, mind you, bundle only because of insurance purposes, by the way.
Right.
Do they bundle the partial hospitalization with the residential? So
Right.
partial hospitalization is a little bit less intense, right? But because residential facilities are not getting paid 30 days and they're selling 30 days, they just they keep finding out, well, what is insurance willing to pay me? And then I'm just going to keep on giving them the 30-day model, the residential model, even though I'm only getting PHP money, or even if I'm only getting IOP money,
It's ridiculous, man.
which is intensive outpatient. So insurance companies pay whatever they want to pay, and so the treatment centers still, since they sold 30 days, they're like, I'm still going to give the person 30 days.
Right.
Just because I'm not going to get paid for it because I can't.
Right.
Legitimately, I cannot. So they'd give it. But anyway, partial hospitalization is the next layer down. And then it goes to intensive outpatient, which is only like 9 hours a week, right? So 9 hours a week. But and then it goes down to outpatient. However, let's look at partial hospitalization.
Sure.
If I could do that at a place where I'm in still a safe environment, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
But even the next layer down, intensive outpatient, because all the IOPs because nobody just starts at a PHP treatment center. At least they don't bill it like that. They bill it as residential.
Right.
So they don't. In other words, I'm sorry, not bill. They advertise it as a rehab, or they advertise it as a treatment program. They don't go out and tell you, "Hey, come to our partial hospitalization program."
No.
But they will say words like, "Come to our IOP," which is intensive outpatient. So we tend to kind of like PHP is kind of stuck in there with residential. So think PHPs with the res, because they seem to bill the same dollars. Sure. And then you have the IOPs.
Yes.
Now the IOPs have gotten in a lot of trouble, or have been at least a source of a lot of drama in the last several years because of the IOPs that were abusing, whether it be through the lab services, whether it be through their sober living services, whether it be them paying people to be there or to refer there, the kickback services. Regardless of what it was, IOPs got in a lot of trouble. IOP is necessary in our industry, though. Intensive outpatient programs is really where you're going to start really learning how to live, because, all right, so now you've got the impurities out of your system, and now you've gotten kind of stabilized, at least medically, and kind of got some direction. We're kind of in we're checking out which medications do you really need, because sometimes people come in on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But IOP is where you start actually doing a lot more interaction to the outside world.
Yeah,
You're feeling a little better, so
so
now you're thinking, "Oh, I'm ready to go back home." No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not ready to go back home, and or you're not ready to just be released, because here's the deal. You're comparing it to how you felt when you came in. You're comparing, "I'm feeling better now," to how horrible you were feeling before treatment. You're not comparing it to the best you. You're not comparing it to how good you can feel. You're only comparing it to, "Oh my God, it's been a long time since I even felt like this. So I'm ready to go conquer the world." But it's like, slow down there, Sparky. Let's get your sea legs on first.
Yeah.
Because it could be kind of rocky. And let's start trying some of these things so you can see how you respond emotionally to the outside world a little bit. Go ahead, Trinity, speak.
No, I like the model overall.
Right.
I just don't like the time frames that are forced. Some people might do really, really well after 30 days to go into some more IOP type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Some people might need a little bit longer. You know, like the idea that in 28 days or 30 days, you're going to be what they consider stabilized. I've seen some people that there's just no way. Like, there's people who've come to us that, no way. They've been through so much trauma. They've been so deep in their addiction. It's not going to take 28 days.
It could take you years. It could take you years.
Yeah, I'm not even talking about done. I'm just talking about stabilized.
Oh, wow.
I got it.
Yeah, there you
I'm just talking about stabilized. You know, to the point where you're ready to kind of comprehend simple stuff that somebody's trying to get you to understand.
Right.
Because to me, like I've seen IOP, like I've done groups in different facilities, and the thing that like I've literally been in the group setting talking to people, and I know we're doing IOP, and I've looked at some of them thinking, oh yeah, they're fine, like they're awesome, whatever. They're gonna go home tonight to their families, and I think they're gonna be just fine. Right. There's been other people that I'm looking at, I'm like, how are you allowed to go home tonight?
Yeah.
How is it, like, I'm talking to you and you're not even here right now. How are you going to be able to go home tonight? Right. There's just no way. Right. Like, you need a little bit more help, you know, and the fact that there is no sliding scale like that, you know, that's crazy to me. Like, once again, you have it in other diseases like cancer or something like that. Right. Like, you have different levels of treatment for cancers, and you know, you wait around until you're remission, things of that nature. Like, there is none of this, like, okay, well, it only, you know, I'm only going to do two treatments. Yeah, that's
but are those other diseases run by insurance companies, though? I mean, are those other diseases, like, can the insurance companies? I mean, see, I don't know. So I've never been treated with these another type of horrible disease at all. So I don't even know whether insurance can tell me that I can't get that treatment or not.
I don't know.
You know what I mean? Because this one's kind of unique because I do know insurance companies get in the way of people getting certain medications they want.
Oh, yeah.
I do know that insurance companies do get in the way of certain procedures, but because our industry relies so heavily on face-to-face contact, communication, therapy, some experiential therapies, some new therapies that may not yet be proven, but let's throw those in the mix because they do help us with some other aspects of what we're helping you with, you know, holistic approaches.
I think that's the hard part too, though, right? Is it's very subjective. It's very there's no
barometer that we can show. Well, there is, but just insurance companies just are trying to protect the dollar, right?
Well, yeah, but there's no like with cancer, there's a simple, like you've always pointed out. With cancer, there's a test. I can test you. It's either there or
it shows you that you have it. Yeah, right. There's an X-ray.
Yeah.
We don't have an X-ray.
It's like you know, they're fixed. Maybe they're not fit. Like you don't know, and so I think that's part of the trouble.
Well, I think and that's why when you look at programs like Turnbridge that I just visited, that is building up this database, right? They work closely with Yale, and they're building up this data. And Journey Pure does it with their stuff. They build data. They're trying to, like, every 15 minutes they input data about how you're doing. So I think that kind of data gives you more stuff, so that even though it is subjective or anecdotal because it's one place and one type of individual or whatever, it's still able to, over a time period, give you enough data that maybe people like that can help fight insurance companies and say, look, we're showing you that our treatment outcomes are better because of the longer stays. And let me tell you something. I mean, of all the longer stay programs, all longer stay programs have better outcomes.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, if you tell me you went to a 30-day rehab and that 30-day rehab says that they have an 80% success rate, 90% success rate, I'm going to give you a middle finger and I'm going to tell you you're full of crap.
How you define success?
Yeah.
They stayed for 28 days? Yeah. Is that the definition of success? Or?
Yeah, because, I mean, in that first year of recovery is so difficult, and there's so many changes that happen in that first year. So the longer you can stay engaged, the better. So here's the bottom line. The bottom line is, look, sober homes need to step up as well, because even after the IOP, where are you living? Where are you staying? Well, hopefully in a place that's still regulated very well, still a stable home and clean environment, still a place where you can be monitored and kind of encouraged. Hey, man, we have difficulty just making our bed. And why make your bed? What's important about that? Well, because it's taking care of yourself. Right. It's doing things that you didn't normally do when you're not caring about living so much. You don't really take care of your hygiene the way you normally do. You don't really take care of your home environment the way you do. You don't really clean your environment. You don't really even know how to cook. You're kind of used to eating whatever's there. So if it's something that you just open and just put in your mouth like a potato chip bag, then that's what you do. And my worst, I mean, I ate a lot of potato chips in my day. I had a lot more potato chips when I was using. Why? Because when I was hungry, and it was those short little periods of time when cocaine wasn't in effect.
Grab something.
You just ate whatever you can real quick. Boom, 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 and then next thing you know, you weren't doing it anymore. You weren't eating anymore, you know, because it just doesn't go. Just didn't go. And for a lot of people out there, they're not going to buy food and buy drugs. If you have $10, it's not going towards a healthy meal.
No.
And you're surely not going to read a label to see if it's nutritious before you get high. Well, let me buy organic. I got $10. Let me spend $9 of it on a healthy meal. What are you going to do? Really? You're only going to spend $1 on heroin? It's not going to happen. If you have $10, it's going to a bag. And that's kind of the way it goes. And so it takes a while to learn how to just feed yourself, take care of yourself, eat well. And then you realize, wow, I can build up natural energies. There's actually energy in food.
Yeah.
Like, how long does it really take to even get that? Trinity, you're come on, you're a master trainer. How hard is it to even convince people there's energy in food? I mean, do people even really believe you when you say if you eat better, you're going to have more energy?
No.
Or do they think they always have to
never
to cheat like me and eat and drink a Celsius?
No, I mean, I tell people all the time about food is fuel, that kind of thing, but they never believe
It's
me.
hard to believe
I've been
that.
doing this for I don't know how many years now.
Because what do we compare it to, Trinity? We compare it to coffee. We compare it to crack. We compare it to we compare it to something that's just an unrealistic comparison. Like, if I say, look, I have stress, I want to relax. It's hard to compare downward facing dog to pot.
Yeah, one's definitely.
One's going to give me, or to Xanax. Yeah. Xanax is going to give me an immediate response to my anxiety. And you want me to do downward facing dog or do some sort of breathing technique or some sort of meditation.
Which can give you that immediate release, but it's
not as powerful.
It's not as intense.
It's not going to be as intense. And so it takes a while that you do this for 3, 6, 9, 1 year, 2 years. And then if you really want to be better and you really want this to stick, you just got to keep doing it until it works. You just keep doing it. Look, they're not lying to you. They're not saying this because, of any other reason other than we've seen the sickest of the sickest of the sickest get better by doing these things repetitively, being around other people, communicating about what's going on, getting stabilized. If you need medication, getting stabilized medically. Why? Because this is a medical disease. Look, if you're out there and you don't want to believe this is a disease model, you know why you're thinking that? Because you want to use again. It's hard for you to believe that you have a disease that says you cannot ever use that substance again. That's the only reason you're fighting disease model, because that's the only thing it's really saying, is that disease model means that once you have it for life if you use. It doesn't mean you have it for life if you don't use, because if you don't use, it wants to go somewhere else, and it tries to make you maybe like gambling to try to give you that feeling, or sex to give you that feeling, or exercise to give you that feeling, which it can, because transference exists. But what the disease says is that just you have to watch what you develop tolerance to, because if you can develop tolerance to it, that can be just as problematic in your life as the other thing that you just got off of. So it's important to understand it as a disease, because if you don't, you're missing out on being able to catch something else that becomes problematic in your life early on, and then you're just going to come to somebody like me later on and go, well, man, that became a problem too.
I think there should be a show one day.
What?
Just that idea of the mentality of abstinence now. Like, I think that'd be actually a really good show. Now that we're talking about it that way, because I'm thinking to myself, like with like clients, for instance, I've had over the years in the fitness world. Right. It's been one thing to get them, let's say their vice is ice cream or pizza, and they eat too much of it. Right. I'm able to tell them, like, you can still have some, just a little bit less. Like, and it's a relatively easy thing to do, to have one cookie instead of none. Or one cookie instead of 30. Yeah. But then, you go into the addiction world and you really liked it. I mean, drugs work, right? I mean, they make you feel fantastic.
What's not to like?
And so you spent your years liking it. Yeah, granted, it ruined your life, but it still felt good at the time, like the second you're doing it. Yeah. And now I'm telling you, this thing that you thought was amazing and felt you can never do it again, ever. Right. That's got to be a hard kind of... Because I have so many of them that we've met over the years that still think that I'm good now and I can do one. Like, I'm all right. Right. That's right. I would think that'd be a pretty cool show, actually.
Well, that's what makes it. I think that's what makes people want to fight the disease model. Also, what makes it want to fight is they want to use something else. Like, now that marijuana is finally, look, man, if marijuana was getting such a push like when I was a kid, bro, I mean, I'd still be smoking like a fiend, because
was that keyword?
I understand why so many of you think, all right, well then I can smoke pot. I get it. I understand what you're wanting to do. But I think you have to respect why you went through all this in the first place. And risk is a word. Risk is a word that we all need to understand. whether you can do it or not is an unknown, because I don't know you personally. If I had a whole understanding of who you are and what you've gone through, I could probably tell you whether you should or shouldn't a little bit better than just on a radio show where I don't know anything about you. So this is something that you need to sit with somebody who you really trust a lot and listen to what they're saying. Let them evaluate your whole life, and you guys have a conversation about it, whether something like marijuana is okay for you. But I would say, as a general rule, if you've been addicted to something else and it caused you a lot of problems in your life, it's probably not worth the risk. And I think that's the word that you need to understand, risk management. Yep. And what addicts tend to not want to do, especially while we're using, is risk management. We tend to risk everything.
Right.
We tend to risk our freedom. We risk our relationships. We risk our health. We risk our lives. So as soon as you start doing better in your life and living a sober, clean lifestyle, part of it is not taking some of those risks, no matter how inviting they are, no matter how good they make you feel. They're not sustainable. They're very dangerous. And if the risk, if when you came to me, you're saying, man, I was losing my wife, I was losing my family, I was losing my job, my kids didn't want to talk to me. If you're coming in like that, and then you're saying, well, now I'm willing to, I think if I smoke pot, that's much better than Xanax. Yeah, it's better than Xanax, right, but it's not better than nothing.
Right.
And so let's try, if you wanna inhale something, let's find out the benefits of oxygen, because that's the best thing you can inhale.
Yeah.
Right? So let's research the benefits of oxygen, and how do I get more oxygen?
Yeah.
Because apparently that's what nature gave me to inhale. Now, I may have manufactured different things to inhale, but nature gave me oxygen as a natural living tool to inhale. So that is probably where we want to start from. And if you're thinking about, I still want to drink alcohol, I just want to drink. I mean, just weddings or just birthdays or just weekends. I know I can't drink that way. Right. If you want to drink something, then let's find out what are the benefits of H2O, water. What are the benefits of water, and why is water so important to drink? Why is hydration so important? Because clearly alcohol dehydrates you.
Yes.
So let's study. Yeah. So let's study hydration. What are the symptoms of dehydration? What does dehydration do to the brain? What does dehydration do to behavior? What does dehydration do to attitude? And once you research that stuff, ask yourself, is it just the disease I'm fighting, or am I really just not even looking at what hydration and oxygen, good clean oxygen, does to helping me think and make better decisions? Right. And you'll realize, wow, man, I'm a smart guy. I'm capable of making great decisions, but when I put stuff inside my brain and my body that harm my ability to think clearly and make good decisions, it's not just the chemical that's kicking my ass. Yeah. It's what the chemical does within this body that really kicks my ass. So that's kind of where I'm going with all this. And when you stay in treatment long enough, the people that you're with are going to hold you back from making some of these decisions too early on about transferring your substance to another or overplaying your role. That's why in some of these treatment centers you'll find cameras, besides just for liability purposes. You'll find cameras in the weightlifting rooms and stuff like that, because they also want to monitor you. Wait. Let's not go too far. Don't moderate the exercise, at least, especially initially, because let's make sure you're not just hiding some other stuff. We're still not through the talk therapy part. You'll be amazed at what stuff uncovers and gets unraveled. Some people don't even know some traumas and abuses they've felt until much later in their recovery.
Yeah, or how it impacted them.
Or how they dealt with it. So anyway, we're getting closer to the end, Trinity. What are you thinking?
No, I mean, I agree. I mean, I think that that people, I think if more people knew the logic behind it, if they understood really why they're doing it, as opposed to just go to rehab because that's what you do.
Because that's what you do.
No. Why do you do that? Like, there's a reason behind it. Like,
right.
That's why I like what we're doing here, and that's educating them about the reasons why.
Yeah, it's to save your life.
It's not just something you do because that's what you do.
Right.
You know, you're doing this because of this, this, and this.
Yeah.
And I think that's really funny because it kind of plays right into a show that we're going to do on Tuesday, I believe. I haven't told you about.
Okay, all right. I like secrets. They keep me sick.
Yeah.
No, I like surprises.
But no, I think that it helps kind of face those facts, I guess, if you will. You know, it's we need it. You know, like you're not going it because that's just what you do.
No.
There's a reason why this is here. There's a reason why it's been proven. There's a reason why it's successful.
Right.
And it's these reasons here.
Right. Well, I mean, look. I mean, who doesn't want to create their own program, right? I mean, who doesn't want to you know, how many times have you seen somebody that the doctors told them you can't have any more sweets, and you got friends and family sneaking them in ice cream, or they go sneak some ice cream. They get told they can't smoke cigarettes anymore, and they go out to the front of the hospital and they sneak in a cigarette.
Does anybody listen to the doctor like right off like to
come
a T?
on. I mean,
no.
and in those cases you have an X-ray.
Yeah.
I mean, there's cases where you have the X-ray.
Denial's a hell of a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the doctor has told me, Louis, you're borderline high blood pressure. You've shown me levels of high blood pressure the last 2 visits. What are you gonna do? Oh yeah. I mean, you think I've started exercising yet? You think I've changed my life? No, I'm a hard-headed knucklehead. And that's a test I can see. I know what high blood pressure does. I know it, and I still struggle with changing my thought process to actually believe I need to do what this physician is telling me to do because I don't want to do it, Trinity.
Sure.
And it's not mandatory. It's not mandatory because you can feel free to keep being sick. Then feel free to die young. Yeah. Feel free.
See, I think you would like working out.
I think I would too.
I
think if I can get,
I'm obviously biased, but
here's my problem: I never can get past the threshold of getting addicted to it. You know, I can never pass the threshold of becoming like getting that dopamine to run.
Right.
You know what I mean? If I can get into the gym and start exercising to the point where I can get that dopamine to flow, I think I'll love it.
Yeah.
Because that's my nature. My nature is to fall in love with something that I enjoy doing that's making dopamine flow, right? I need dopamine release. So, you know, I just need to go in there and do. But the thing is, that starting point, everybody's got to start someday, right?
Yeah.
Well, at least with drugs and alcohol, you know, like you entered rehab because somebody put a stopgap to you. Somebody says, you got to stop today or else you're going to go to jail. You got to stop today or I'm leaving you. You got to stop today or you're losing your kids. You just had an overdose. Welcome to the world. You just woke up, by the way. You don't know where you are. You're in the hospital. How you doing? You're lucky you lived last night. You were administered two nasal sprays of Narcan to bring you back. And then you were brought into the hospital last night around 1 a.m. We need to have a conversation about what we're going to do next. That's usually how it's happening.
Yeah.
Or even you don't have to wait for that.
Even with fitness and exercise. I had a really good friend of mine that had high blood pressure, and I told him, these are the things that you're doing that are causing this, and if you stop, it'll go down. Yeah. Ended up going to give blood, to donate blood. They wouldn't take his blood. Instead, told him, you're not leaving here. We're going to call an ambulance or taking you to the hospital right now because his blood pressure was over 200. And they kept him in the hospital for a week because they couldn't get his blood pressure down.
Yeah.
What do you think the first phone call was when he left? To me, asking me how he can get his blood pressure. I was like, oh, really? All these years I've been telling you. Now all of a sudden you're interested.
And you know, the sad thing is that what ends up happening is you read something online or somebody, a coworker tells you something, you go, hey, I'm going to try this thing because my friend took it and it reduced it dramatically without having to do what you said.
If you just drink pomegranate, your blood pressure goes down. You know?
Yeah. I'm gonna start drinking beets.
Yeah.
Because, you know, and I'm not saying all that stuff can help. All that. But behavior is the number one contributor to health. Behavior. Your behavior. You have to behave differently because the way you're behaving is not helping you live.
Behavior is your number one by
physical
far.
That you see.
No,
by far, yes.
It's not even like a close second. Like 98% behavior.
And here's why I say behavior over thought process, because you can hate it the whole way. I hated recovery for the first 4 years.
Sure.
But my behavior was still on point.
Yeah.
Your behavior will guide your brain eventually.
Of course.
Just go.
Yep.
Just do it. Just surrender. I'm telling you, I wish there was a rehab for high blood pressure. I'd be in it. Insurance companies would never pay for that. I need to go to rehab just to make me just to get out of my chair. And the thing is, I run around a lot, but I'm not walking to New York and Connecticut. I flew to Connecticut.
Walking doesn't do anything.
I don't walk from hole to hole. I sit in my golf cart going to hole to hole.
Well, walking doesn't do anything anyways.
I need a lot more. What do I need to do, Trinity?
Pick things up and put them down.
Pick things up, put things down. So here's what I think I just laid a bunch of stuff down right now, Trinity. So now here's what I need to pick up. My ass out of this chair, and I need to get out of here. It's time to go.
Yeah, we got 60
All right,
seconds.
everybody. One last thing one last shout out to our sponsors, Trinity. Can you please and tell people how they can help us put more people in beds and treatment?
Yeah, man. We got, as you mentioned earlier in the show, we have Journey Pure.
Yeah.
We have Retreat Behavioral Health, who's gone through that recent name change, which I'm appreciative of.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Orange County Drug Free Coalition. And then last but not least, we have the Now Matters More Foundation, which you can reach more information about us at nowmattersmore.org. You can donate there. You can read about what we do and how we do it. Or if you're struggling at the moment and you need help, whether it be navigating or just kind of figuring out what to do next, you can call 833-NOW-MATTERS. It's 833-NOW-MATTERS.
Damn straight. All right, everybody. Hope you have a safe one. Remember, if you need help, do exactly what Trinity just said. From all of us here, obviously. Oh wait, I gotta get this set up. Trinity, why do I always do that without even setting up?
I don't even know.
I never had this set up right. And, you know what I mean? No, it's because it closed on me. Remember, so I have at least that excuse. But anyway, from all of us here on the Couch Live, adios amigos. It's time for a taco. Goodbye.
And that was without even a single drop of rum.
That was awesome.